Hi guys, Rohan here back again with another tutorial on end-to-end web development. So as promised from the previous video, we shall cover uh, menu making. I'm going to take a separate video to explain how we're going to design the logo that I suggested in the previous video. But right now we're just going to concentrate on the menu right now. So first thing I want to highlight is the About, Tutorials, Forum, and Contact. So how I did this was I used an inner shadow, and that got me my nice effect that you see that is so-called embedded into this um, beveled and smoothened background. So to make this, what we're going to do is we're going to create a beveled object. So let's create a new document. First of all, we should probably get the dimensions for this canvas. So the dimensions of this canvas is 416 by 50. So let's go do that. So we're going to right click and new document. So we're going to make the width 50 and 416. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is obviously create a new layer. And the next thing you want to do is you want to create some guides. Now I have set my macro key for creating a new guide. By default it is not set, but I will show you quickly how to do that. So you go down to Edit, Preferences, you go down to Keyboard Shortcuts from Edit. You want to go into Guides. So to get to Guides, you have to go to View, and then you got to create a guide. So in this menu, we're going to go to View, and we're going to scroll all the way down to the one that we want, which is Guides. So here I have, let's keep scrolling here. So here, some new guides. So all you have to do is click it and open, and then you hold down the keys that you want. So I'm going to do Control, Shift, Alt, that. So it should automatically add in your key. So Control, Shift, Alt, that. So it'll automatically add in your key, and then you press Accept. And then you can just press OK, and it'll close that menu away. So now to create a new guide, you just press Control, Shift, Alt, and press the semicolon key. And a new guide should come up like this. We're going to put one guide at 0, and a blue line will show up like such. Now the guides are really useful when you want to snap something to a certain length and that sort of stuff. And I'll show you how when we create our box it'll be easier to fill the beveled box to the max of this canvas that we've created. So I'm going to press Control, Shift, Alt, semicolon again, and this time we're going to do a vertical line at 416 pixels. Once again, we're going to do that, and we're going to do one at 0, but at horizontal. Once again, same thing. This time we're going to do horizontal, but we're going to add a 5 here, so make it 50 px. Press OK. Now, to make your beveled box, it's quite simple. You go down to this line tool. Now, I have the line tool selected, but by default you may see the rectangle tool, in which case you just click it, and then you select rounded rectangle. We're going to change the radius to 10 px, and then we are going to click and drag. Now if you click approximately where the two guides meet, it'll automatically, if you look, it'll automatically snap, and you'll feel a bit of so-called resistance when you're moving away or into the shape. And then you push against and you can't go any further. So you will basically get a feel for where to start and stop. So we're going to paste this right there. So now quickly we're just going to double click and we're going to change the color just a little bit lower so we can actually see it. Now that we have this, we can delete the background because we don't need that, and we can create a new layer. Now we're going to create some separators. But before we do that, we want to make some text. So I'm going to go press this text tool that we see here, and I'm going to select my font Helvetica Rounded LTSTD. Now I did get this online from actually I did get this from one of my friends in a combination of online and from some links my friends provided me. And so I'm using this font. So you can find this pretty much anywhere on the internet. It's pretty easy to get. So again, the font is Helvetica Rounded LT STD. STD meaning standard. We're going to change from the default, which is usually bold condensed, we're going to change it to bold. And the font size should be 24, it should be sharp, and it should be right aligned. We're going to click in the middle, and don't worry about placement, we're going to just adjust it later. And I'm going to type out the characters about. Just move it down. Now I'm going to deselect, and I'm going to select the text tool again. I'm going to click again. This time I'm going to type in tutorials. I'm going to click outside the box, and I'm just going to realign this. Now, a good idea at this point is to create a guide so that you know where to snap. So you want it to be centered, so let's find the center of this. So to do that, let's just quickly zoom in a bit, and we see that our guide sits at about, we'll sit it down at about 35. So we're going to press Control Shift Alt semicolon, and we're going to put it at 35 horizontal. It's okay. Now we're going to go to the About, and we're going to press the Move button, and we're going to move it down onto that line. Same thing with tutorial. We're going to select the tutorial layer, and we're going to move it down. And don't worry about spacing. We're going to worry about spacing in just a bit. Next, we're going to create another text layer. And just as a pointer, in case you make a mistake, Photoshop, this is what I like about it. Notice how there's a line outside of the little, there's a dotted line on the outside of my cursor. But when I hover over some previous text, there's already a the line disappears. In which case, then I can edit the text that I wrote up before and add extra text. So I'm going to deselect. I'm going to select the text tool. I'm going to select the text tool. I'm going to create some new text. This one is going to say 40. Let me drag that down. I'm going to deselect using the Move tool and create a new text. And this one is going to say contact. So there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I want to make sure there's an even spacing between letters. So for my purposes, I've chosen the, so if we refer back to this diagram that we drew here, what I've done is I've decided to make my, the spaces in between my two words to be 16 pixels. So like as in the previous tutorial in which we did background images, we're going to zoom in further to about, say, 400. And we are going to measure the difference between the two. So to do that, you should have the Marquee tool selected. You should have the information bar open. And you should click and drag and measure exactly how much distance. So in this case, my width is 26. I want to reduce that width. So I'm going to reduce it by 10 points. So tutorial, forum, and contact have to move over by 10. So let's just select the Move tool, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We select the Marquee tool again, and we shall measure once more how wide it is. And it is exactly 16. Next, we're going to find the difference out between tutorials and forum. And we find that's 19. So we're going to unselect tutorials. So to do that, just press Control and press the tutorial item. And then we're going to press the Move tool. We're going to move it over 3 spaces. Now to do contact, same thing as before, we're just going to find the difference. We're going to find the difference, and we see the difference as 13. So we want to expand in this case. So we're going to press Control and click Form, so it deselects, and we're going to move over 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Now that we have the spacing right between each individual character, each individual word, we're just going to measure this space just to ensure that it is a certain amount. So this side is 14, and if we go to this side, we'll see that it is 17. So it's 14 and 17, so that's 28 total. So, that is 31 total. What we're going to do is we're going to balance it out by moving it over a bit. So we're going to press the Control key and select all the items. And there's 14 on this side and 17 on the other. So we're going to have to move it over to the right. So let's do that. So 15, sorry. Oops. So we deselect, and this time we're going to find out the difference here. So it's 17 on this side and probably 14 on the other. So we need to again move it over. So we're going to move it 1. So it becomes 16 and 15. So it looks like about has a bit more space. So we're just going to move it over like so. So our contact has a bit more space. So we're going to zoom out to 100%. And there you go. So just to ensure again that the canvas size is the right size, because I think I may have made a slight mistake. No, the canvas size does add up. So let us zoom in further and see if we can spot the mistake. So this time we're going to, because the difference in between each one should be 16, but I'm absolutely not sure. So I'm just going to measure it again just to make sure, because each side should have about 16 difference. So let's move this up to 600. So that is 16. The difference here is 16. And the difference here is 16. Let's measure it here. This is 16. And so therefore this should be about 15. So this is pretty interesting. This has actually never happened to me, because when I did it in the original file, it actually worked. So let us zoom out. To 100%. And so there you have your items. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select the shape. We're going to close down the information bar. We're going to select the shape. We're going to right click, press blend options. And this time we're going to bevel the object. Now to get the feel that you want, you may have to play around with bevel for a bit. But eventually you will get the style that you find is the best. So I'm going to go to the bevel and emboss options. And I'm going to change the depth. So actually reset to default. We are going to change the size. Just get to that nice bevel look that we had before. We're going to soften it. The angle of the shading should be 90 degrees. And it should be slightly darker. Like so. We're going to press OK. Now for the about, we're going to right click. We're going to select the about layer. Right click. Blend options. And we are going to apply the same thing to all 3 of the objects. So for this one, what I did was I added an inner shadow. Like so. For the color overlay, you may want to change the color to something else. So make it a darker color so that it actually looks like it's being embedded. we'll change it a bit lighter so it's visible. We press OK. We're going to make this our default so that when we open the other ones, it happens pretty quickly. Blend options. We are going to select the color overlay. Oh, sorry. One thing also you should be wary of is exactly what your blend option should be doing. So for this one, I'm going to make the blend options a lot darker. So for the about one, I'm going to make it darker and make that a default so that we can just click and go. It'll be a lot easier when we select. Like this, it's a bit darker. So again, this takes some time to get the right amount that you want. And I'm going to press make default. So we go to tutorials now, the tutorials text, blend options. And again, the blend options page should show up. We're going to turn on inner shadow and color overlay. We'll press OK. We're going to go to form, right click, blend options. We're going to go to inner shadow, color overlay. Contact, right click, blend options. Inner shadow and color overlay. To get a darker color for the color overlay and so that it looks like it has it's been embedded into the actual bar itself, you may want to fiddle around with the opacity that you see here. But for now, I think I like it this way. Now comes the more difficult part. So what we want to do? What we want to do is create a separation in case we want to do a nice hover at the bottom or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer, and we're going to name this. We're going to name this separate. And to do this, this is quite basic. So remember why I did 16px? There's a reason why I picked even numbers in this case. So anyways, we're just going to quickly save so that we don't lose our data. Save that. Press OK. We're going to zoom in to about 600. Now, I want to select 8 pixels away from the about. So I'm going to activate this tool here that we see. So that on this 8th pixel, I actually have a line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the rectangle marquee tool. I'm going to click and hold and select the single column marquee tool. Then I'm going to press just above this line. So this gets filled. Now I'm going to select the eyedropper really quickly, and I'm going to select the color that we see down here. And then I'm going to fill the space that you see there with the color that I had gotten from here. So I'm going to go back to the move key. I'm going to press Alt and press Delete. And it's going to fill the color. Now you're wondering, this may look weird, but you'll see in a few moments why it won't. I'm going to move once, sorry, we're going to leave it at there. Then we're going to create another shape, and we're going to press the single pixel marquee tool. I'm going to move over one, and this time we're going to select the color that appears here. So let's switch the colors. Select this, and we'll select the color at the top that we see. This time we're going to fill it in again. So there we go. So now we just need to duplicate these a few more times. So we're going to Sorry. Click delete. I'm going to create a group so that we can edit these if we need to, in case we decide to change colors and that sort of stuff. Separator. And we shall name this separator highlight. In a few moments, we will look at the image at 100% zoom, and you'll understand why I did this nice tool. So we're going to deselect first. Next, we're going to right click. We're going to duplicate group. We're going to name it as separator 2. Select K2. It's always good to select and deselect, because sometimes when you select, you'll edit in the same layer, and you don't want that to happen. So now, to move it over, so that because the current group is sitting here, the second group, we're going to hold the Shift key and we're going to keep tapping. We're going to press the Move key, the Move tool, and we're going to hold the Shift key and press the arrow keys, thereby moving it by very large steps. So that seems about right in terms of distance. We're going to duplicate this group, and we're going to name it separator 3. Again, we're going to move it over. And so we're going to zoom out to 100%. So as you can see, we have our nice border. So I'm going to just hide these guides quickly. And so as you can see, we have our nice separators, and we have an about, and we have a contact. Now, you may want to choose to move the contact over, because as you can see, the difference between here and here is not the same. But for our purposes, I'm going to leave it where it is. And so there you go. You now have a menu. And a good idea is we should export it. So remember how we export to PNG. We're going to press Control, Alt, Shift, and Save, which is S. We're going to save this as deinterlaced and transparency with the PNG24. We're going to save this as menu.png. So there you have it. You have a menu, and you might want to fool around with this and mess around so that you get the right look that you want. But this is basically what it's going to look like. As always, guys, please do subscribe, and so that I can keep this channel going and we can continue to learn more about CSS, HTML, JavaScript. For the coding for this, I will show you in a later video exactly what we're going to do with hovers and that sort of stuff to make it look nice, and so they make links. Anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video, in which we will make the web page logo, and I will show you how we're going to add that to our page. Alright, see you later, guys.